Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what time you're watching this. My name's Connor from 905 Review. You guys are checking out our series Give This a Spin, where I recommend you some of my favorite albums. And today we'll be checking out Japandroids with their release, Celebration Rock. Japandroids began in 2006 with the intention of, at the very least, being a trio, before Brian King and David Prowse opted to take on all the roles themselves. And I mean all the roles. Stepping into the Pacific indie scene, they were in charge of their own bookings, gear rentals, stage setup, and advertising. And as I'm sure anybody in a band would tell you, it was hard for them to break through and really establish a following, so the two actually hung it up, but figured they should do their fans some good and at least leave their mark with an album, 2009's Post Nothing. And this was a huge move because it actually got them on people's radar. Music journal Pitchfork called this some of the best new music, label Polyvinyl wanted to sign the band, and a year later, they were playing on Jimmy Fallon. Now, this success would have been nice before they retired the band, but I suppose it's better late than never. They jumped on the opportunity and toured, playing some 200 shows in only a year and a half across North America and Europe, where they would be really praised for their live energy. And that's exactly what they would try to capture on their second album, Celebration Rock. The album opens with the Nights of Wine and Roses, starting off with the sound of fireworks, before a gritty drum rhythm comes in, and once the guitar joins alongside it, everything goes in full swing. And one thing that's immediately apparent for the band here is the improvement in lyrics as opposed to their first album, with Malcolm Lowry's Under the Volcano being an inspiration to Brian. Following this is the romantic Fire's Highway. Rightfully so, it's an upbeat, cheery rocker, and it seems like the Vancouver boys had some fun with the girl down south, who must have been quite an inspiration on them to inspire lyrics like this.
So kiss away your gypsy fears and turn some restless nights to restless years.
And if that truly is the case, I feel like they do a great job with the music alongside it to reflect that, because it really feels like we're longing for a girl here, but not in a heartbroken sort of way, just kind of like a fond recollection of her, and one that we're okay with. But flip that coin over, and we're on to Evil Sway. It's a purely lustful song. We're just here to get it on, and I do like that name for it, Evil Sway, as in doing the act, because you're just giving into your sins, right? And ending the first side of the album now, we have For the Love of Ivy. This is a cover of the Gun Club song, who were a inspiration on Japandroid. Well, I mean, obviously they were an inspiration if they're covering them, right? Regarding the sequencing of this album, Brian wanted the A-side to really end on a bang, and they found that with the songs they'd put together, they weren't really getting that to the extent they wanted, so they figured they would just cover one that would get it done. And if Japandroids are anywhere near as good live as they're hyped up to be, this would be a song to catch. I'm sure this does them justice. But that brings us to Adrenaline Night Shift to open the second side. And this one kind of exemplifies the ethos of the album. At this point in time, the two were always on the go, whether that was writing, recording, performing, and so they're here reiterating that you don't get anywhere just waiting around. And they love that life, declaring that there's no high like an adrenaline night shift. Mind you, their night shift is being awesome and playing concerts. A lot of other people's night shift is like, sweeping or stocking shelves for 8 hours. That's followed by Younger Us, where King is reflecting on himself, his friends, and just the path that everybody took to get to where they're at now.
Remember saying things like we'll sleep when we're dead, and thinking this feeling was never gonna end.
In life, you'll hear, or you already have heard, that there's various things that you should do, whether that's go to university, get a steady job, start a family, what have you. But really, at the end of the day, it's important to be asking yourself, what do you really want to do, instead of what might be expected of you by other people. This brings us to the album's lead single, The House That Heaven Built. And this song was well received by so many people, lots of them claiming that it really evokes this sense of nostalgia for early adulthood where you don't have many cares in the world, and the chanting in it has become pretty anthemic. The song was certainly embraced in Vancouver, where the Canucks made this their intro for a brief time. And this sets the album up to end with continuous thunder.
The cold, hissing rain, dressed to the nines, arm in arm with me tonight.
And here the band had to do their best to control themselves. On so many of these songs, it sounds like they're going 100% from very start to very finish, but they try to have a more tender song here, and even still, it almost feels like they're reluctant to do so.
Singing out loud, yeah, 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 like continuous thunder.
At least Prowse gets to pound away to close the song out, and at that point it starts to sound somewhat familiar as you start to hear the fireworks going off, realizing they closed the album out the same way they opened it. This album's available as a digital download or on CD or cassette or vinyl, the latter of which is available in black, red, or white. As of 2020 though, they included some newer, fancier looking ones, including the remarkable Fires Highway edition. Japandroids continued to ride the wave they were on, as Celebration Rock was pretty well received. It peaked at number 37 on the Billboard, made it onto many Best Albums of 2012 lists, and was the runner-up for Canada's Polaris Music Prize. The album's been praised for its mix of classic rock composition and lyrics, while having a sound more in line with that of 80s punk rock. On top of that, I think this would be a fun one to sing to or rock out to with friends, so you know what? Celebration Rock is a pretty good way to describe this thing. With that being said, I'll be stamping this album with a B grading. It's not that I dislike anything on here, it's just that I wasn't wowed at many instances, and as a matter of fact, the times I was wowed most was when they kind of step away from that bright sound that they have for a lot of this album. I think the highlights were the grit on For the Love of Ivy and the less cheerful Evil Sway, those being accomplished without even losing any of the band's signature energy. But those are just my thoughts on Japandroids and Celebration Rock. Let me know yours. As always, I've appreciated hosting you, and I'll see you in the next one. But real quick, before we take off, what were your thoughts on Japandroids Celebration Rock? Did I rate it too high or did I rate it too low? You let me know down below, as well as anything else you might be thinking, any other comments you want to share, or any other albums you want me to check out. With that being said, I've appreciated hosting you, and until next time.